people of the world. How's it going? For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tasha. I live in England, in a place called Abingdon, which is just south of Oxford. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about Cambridge. I did a previous talk on Oxford, so it makes sense to do a talk on Cambridge. Firstly, let me just get the elephant out of the room. Coronavirus. Let's just have a quick chat about what's going on there. And hello everyone who's joining. Thank you very much. So just a brief update from an English perspective. Currently things are, cracking on as normal. However, things are starting to change. Hello, hi. So basically, a lot of businesses are closing down. We've been advised not to go to pubs and to restaurants. The schools are still open, although it was recently announced that the schools in Wales and Scotland are closing. So I think it's a matter of time before they close here. So it's very weird. It's a weird time, as I'm sure it is for you guys listening. I think we just have to all support each other and love each other. And hello, yes, always, any questions, please just ask. I'm in Abingdon, which is near Oxford in England. So yeah, it's a weird time. I was walking home from school where I work, and there was an older couple in front of me, and they moved away. They did like the social distancing, we're calling it, keeping 2 meters away, and it was very bizarre. It has been very strange walking around. The supermarket shelves empty, and no toilet roll, no bread. We would use the word stockpiling. So people are stockpiling food and supplies, meaning they're taking a lot of extra things that they don't need and having it in their house ready in case they have to go on lockdown. Oh, Kent, lovely. Yeah, Tunbridge Wells is nice. Yeah, and I agree. I think people are trying to avoid walking past people. Obviously, you don't know what people have got or haven't got. For me, I'm at work, so there's not a lot I can do until the government decides to close the schools. There's not a lot I can do other than follow the government's advice. But it is a little bizarre. So I'm going to talk about Cambridge, and let's think of other nicer, more normal things other than the coronavirus, which I think is stressful for everyone. So, Cambridge. Maybe give me a thumbs up if you've ever been to Cambridge, because even though that's going to be my talk for today, I have never been from Cambridge. And question here, am I working from home this week? No, I work in a school, so I have been going to school as normal. However, I think it's unlikely that the school will be able to still be open. We've got a lot of staff who are off sick or self-isolating, so I'm not working from home currently. I have a lot of friends who are, and hello everyone who's joining, so lovely. So yeah, let's, any questions while I'm talking, please ask, but let's get started and think about other things. So I'm going to do a little talk on Cambridge. And just from this image alone, I mean, Cambridge, I had my friend Andrew, he went to Cambridge University and studied physics because he is a genius. And he went to Cambridge University, and he said it was just an amazing, beautiful place to live. And it's very similar to Oxford. So I live in Abingdon, which is right by Oxford. And this could be Oxford. You've got lots of old, beautiful buildings, spires, so towers, spires, which would be a great view from from up high, as you can see from this picture. So I've had a little look online, done a little bit of research, and I'm just going to talk through some information that I found out about about Cambridge. Let me just show you on a map where Cambridge actually is. So I'm in Oxford, which is here, and I just looked it up. So it's 2 hours 13 minutes, so about 2 hours in the car, and Cambridge is over east. Do you know, I should tell you this because it probably is different in other languages, to remember north, east, south and west, English children and adults will say never eat shredded wheat to remember it. Shredded wheat is a cereal, it's delicious. So if you want to remember north, south, east and west, in English we would say never eat shredded wheat. And I still do it in my head, which is ridiculous, but there we go. So yeah, that is where Cambridge is. And I found this amazing website that talks about all the students at the university. So I'm just going to go on that and read you out some figures. Yeah, shredded wheat, classic. Bit of an old person's cereal, isn't it, I guess, but I bloody love it. So, never eat shredded wheat, that's right, north, south, east, west, classic. So Cambridge University, obviously you've probably heard of Cambridge, the city. The university is world renowned, meaning world famous. Cambridge and Oxford are two of the oldest universities, and together we call it the Oxbridge. So Cambridge and Oxford, Oxbridge. So the Oxbridge universities. And it was really interesting reading about Cambridge University. There are currently 18,736 students, and it's similar to Oxford. So Cambridge, the university, is split into different colleges, which is just like Oxford. So, for example, you might attend, of course I can't think of any of the college names. I'm just going to say, I can't remember, Christchurch, there we go. So for example, in Oxford, there's Christchurch College, which is part of Oxford University. So depending on what you're studying, it depends what college you go to. So you might study physics or art or whatever it might be, you'll be at a different college. And Cambridge works very similar to that, or the same as that basically. There are 11,500 members of staff who work for Cambridge, so a huge education hub. The income is apparently 1.31 billion. And there's a bunch more facts and figures here. Now, the fees to go to Cambridge University, we had a thing, if you heard my last talk about Oxford, forgive my little moan here, but the fees have gone up quite a lot, and now I think it's about £9,250 a year to go to university, regardless of the university. However, you can pay more, just like in Oxford, where you can board. And you've seen Harry Potter. If you haven't seen Harry Potter, I don't know why you're listening to this, because it's the best thing ever. The dining hall that you see in Harry Potter, if you go to Oxford or Cambridge, you can literally eat in a hall, basically like the Great Hall in Harry Potter, and you will get served and you will have a 3-course meal, and that's all part of your tuition fees and your expenses, so people can do that. And yeah, 10k a year is so expensive. This is what how I'd like to explain it. When my brother, who is 35, when he went to university, it was £1,000 a year. My sister, who is now 31, 32, and when she went to university, it was £3,000 a year. So it tripled. And then when I went to go to university, it tripled again to £9,000. So I didn't go. I didn't go to university because it is flipping expensive. And Oxbridge boat race springs to mind. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, Oxford and Cambridge, very competitive, not just academically, but also in sports. Yes, there is the rowing teams of Oxford and Cambridge. They compete together, and it's beautiful. If you visit Oxford especially, but Cambridge as well, and you can go out on the boats onto the water, and it's so beautiful. It is so lovely. And I'm new to Oxford, or Abingdon, but the area, and I just love living by water. If anyone else lives by water, oh, it's the best thing. So yeah, so it's quite interesting just to think about the actual university. I mean, it's been around for such a long time. I've got this is a website, Information Hub Admin, university profile. So, oh, sorry, I've got a little bit of a cough. It's just a cold, guys. I promise it's not the virus. So here you got arts and humanities, humanities and social sciences, physical sciences, technology, biological sciences, clinical medicine, natural science, and university partner institution. I don't know what that is. This is the website if you would like to find out more information. So yeah, a lot of people doing humanities and social sciences, very popular at Cambridge University. And so that's, if you're interested in things like that, that's quite interesting. 31 different colleges, like I was saying, so people go to the college. So here's the name of a bunch of colleges, I guess named after all sorts of famous, amazing people. Oh, Darwin there, woohoo! Yeah, pretty cool. So if you're lucky enough to study at Oxford or Cambridge, or Oxbridge as we say, then you're almost guaranteed to be on more money. And also, I think every Prime Minister that's ever been, I want to say, went to Oxford or Cambridge. And obviously even people who, like American presidents have studied at Oxford and Cambridge, so world-renowned, amazing place. So I looked up online the top 10 places to visit in Cambridge, and it both annoyed me and excited me, because I thought, oh brilliant, I really want to go to Cambridge, oh I can look and see where to go, and then at the same time this blooming virus means that I can't visit anytime soon, but in the future I will be visiting. So there's this place, Fitzwilliam Museum, which looks stunning, and apparently it has collections of antiques from ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, and it includes exhibits of English and European pottery, glass, furniture, clocks, Chinese jades and ceramics from Japan and Korea. So it looks absolutely stunning. I mean, I don't know how old this museum is, but look at all that. Oh, it looks beautiful. I should have got some pictures of the inside as well. So top place to visit, number 1, Fitzwilliam Museum. And yeah, stupid virus, sick of it already. The museums in Oxford are amazing. I went recently, well, a few months ago now, to the Ashmolean Museum and the Natural History Museum, and they are just phenomenal. They are so good. So I mean, if you like a museum, you know, London is amazing for museums as well. Oh, that's my cat who's just come in. Giles, you going to say hello? Oh, no. Food. More interested. Oblivious to all the drama in the world. By the way, I also have some facts and guesses about myself, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this talk. So stay tuned if you are remotely interested in my life. Yeah, so Cambridge, the River Cam. The River Cam is a very pretty, calm river, and it's worth taking one of the punch trips. The very friendly and knowledgeable guides keep you entertained with histories and stories of the colleges you pass. So this, I mean, this it's weird actually looking at pictures of Cambridge because it looks identical to Oxford. But punting, so going out on the river, is a very, very popular activity. I mean, Cambridge is beautiful for its rivers, very similar to Oxford in that sense. And I did a boat tour in Oxford, an Alice in Wonderland riverboat tour, and it was so lovely. The guy who was the captain of the ship, he was so knowledgeable, and as we went down the river, he was telling us about the history of all the places we were passing, and it was just fascinating. And also about Lewis Carroll, who grew up in Oxford, and you know the stories of Alice, based on Alice Liddell, the real Alice Liddell, playing around in Oxford in the river and in the fields. So I'd really recommend a boat tour if you ever come this way. It is such a lovely thing to do. I mean, it rained because it's England, but you know, that's what you expect, isn't it? Okay, so the University of Cambridge, I'll just spin my little camera around. The University of Cambridge was founded in 1209 and granted a royal charter by King Henry in 1231. Cambridge is the second oldest university in the English-speaking world and the world's fourth oldest surviving university. The university grew out of an association of scholars who left the University of Oxford after a dispute with the townspeople. The two ancient universities share many common features and are often referred to jointly as Oxbridge. Yeah, so I mean, two of the oldest universities in the English-speaking world. I wonder when women were allowed to study there, actually. I mean, the people who would study there, you know, in the past would have only been the upper class. Even now, you know, they say that, you know, that there's more diversity and, you know, people from poorer backgrounds can go to Oxford and Cambridge, but it's still very elite. So you would probably have to be upper class or wealthy to go there. I mean, you could get a scholarship, and you know it should be open to anyone in the country. Like I say, I had a friend who went to university, and he was from Crawley. I was spitting there. He's from Crawley, which is where I'm from, which is a real working class town. So you know it is achievable if you're really determined. Yeah, and it just, it's making me want to go. It looks so beautiful. And also there's the King's College Chapel. This is not the clearest picture, but you can see this ceiling and the glass stained windows. Oh my goodness, it looks stunning. This was built between 1446 and 1515 and is the site where many great scholars were educated. So, video pause there, I'm back. King's College Chapel. Yeah, it looks, again, just stunning. Now, I had to include this one on the list, not just because it came up in the top 10 places to visit, because it's a gin laboratory. Now, I don't know if you like gin. Is anyone like gin? I love a gin. You know, gin and tonic on a hot summer day with a slice of lemon. Oh, perfection. So, Cambridge Gin Laboratory is an interactive space in the heart of Cambridge dedicated to the appreciation of everyone's favourite spirit, gin. So apparently it's a shop that is also a classroom, a tasting room and a private hire room. So I guess if you're having some kind of party, you can hire this space and you can make your own gin. So if you're into gin, go to Cambridge and go to the Gin Laboratory or the Gin Lab. Okay, another place, Cambridge University Botanic Garden. This, oh my goodness, in spring, how beautiful would this place be? I'll just read what I've got here. So it says, this heritage heritage listed botanic garden was originally conceived by Charles Darwin's mentor and teacher, Professor John Henslow. The garden's plant collections today number 8,000 plus species from all over the world, displayed within the best collection of trees in the region. 8,000 species. I mean, it's worth going just to look at all the flowers. It reminds me, in Canada on Victoria Island, there's these Van Dusen botanical gardens, and in fact I can show you a picture because I have a photo album here that I made. Oh, nearly knocked down my picture of old Bruce Lee. Don't want to do that. And they those gardens are based on Queen Victoria's gardens, and they literally change the whole garden area every season. So spring, summer, autumn, winter, they will change the garden. Let me just find, I've got a great picture of the botanical gardens on Vancouver Island, and you can get an idea of how beautiful it is. Oh, okay, here we go. So this, Vancouver Island, and it's absolutely huge. I don't know if you can tell from the image. This garden, I mean, it goes on, it's absolutely massive. And they change the flower beds every season. It's gorgeous. Got any more pictures? Me being a dork. Yeah, really cool. Super cool. And that's me with blue hair on a boat. Wonderful. Yeah, so Cambridge University Botanical Gardens, a must see apparently. There's also a Cambridge American Cemetery and Memorial, and the pictures of this looked quite incredible really. And it says that at Cambridge American Cemetery and Memorial, we commemorate the service, achievements and sacrifice of 10,000 American military service members and civilian volunteers who fought for freedom during World War II. This is one of 26 overseas American national shrines managed by American Battle Monuments Commission, which is America's preeminent sentinel of memory. And it says, this was on TripAdvisor, the website. Come visit this pristine memorial near Cambridge and learn of America's experience in the UK from 1942 to 1945. The visitor experience will reveal the true depths of our special relationship. So that's nice. That's a really lovely place to go. Obviously it'd be quite emotional, I imagine, for a lot of people. But it's beautiful that there is a place to remember the people who died for us so that we've got life now. Goodness. That is something to remember, isn't it? During all this virus stuff, I was talking to my grandma and she was like, well, we lived through the Second World War and we just got on with things, and we, you know, food was rationed and we just cracked on. And cracked on, I think, is a really great expression because it literally just means getting on with things, carrying on as normal, the best you can. So, yeah. That's a good place to visit. And again, this picture's a little bit blurry, but this is King's College, dating from the mid-15th century and one of the finest examples of medieval architect. This college's main draw is its chapel that houses Rubens' Adoration of the Magi, or Magi, not sure how to say that word actually. Again, similar to Oxford, just look like these old ancient, I mean, mid-15th century this was built. Isn't that wonderful that this still exists? Obviously it would have had some renovation works over the years, but amazing, absolutely amazing. I do feel honoured to live in a place with such history. The next thing of Oxford, I'm doing it again, I keep thinking I'm talking about Oxford. The next thing I wanted to share with you, which I love this. So this is called the Bridge of Sighs. And this bridge can be found in 3 places in the world: Venice, Cambridge and Oxford. If you saw my last Oxford talk, you would have seen I had an image of the Bridge of Sighs. And it, oh my goodness, I mean, in Oxford, this connects 2 buildings together. It's not over a river in Oxford, but it is over a river here. And I found some cool information, which I'm going to read to you about it. Also, I've just had a notification from the BBC, which says England schools to shut on Friday until further notice. So it's official, the schools are closing. Just thought I'd give you that update there. Oh, it's a bit of a scary time if the schools are closing, and just hope we get paid. We will find out. Anyway, Cambridge, nice places. Let's continue to think of all the good things in the world. So, the Bridge of Sighs. Now, a sigh is a... You can sigh when you're annoyed. You can sigh when you're relaxing. You finally sat down with a cup of tea. So, a sigh is a great way to express feelings. So, the Bridge of Sighs in Cambridge is a covered bridge belonging to St John's College of Cambridge University. It was built in 1831 and crosses the River Cam between the college's 3rd Court and New Court. So the River Cam that we saw earlier, that's where the bridge crosses over. So if you did a boat tour, you could probably go under the Bridge of Sighs, which would be beautiful. The Bridge of Sighs in Oxford, actual name is Hertford Bridge, is referred to as the Bridge of Sighs because of its supposed similarity to the very famous Bridge of Sighs in Venice. So it's only because it's similar. The bridge was completed in 1914, so 106 years old. The name Bridge of Sighs in Venice was given by Lord Byron in the 19th century and comes from the suggestion that prisoners would sigh at their final view of beautiful Venice through the window before being taken down to their cells. In reality, little could be seen from the very small windows due to the stone grills covering the windows. So, yeah, so I just thought that was quite cool, really. That the idea is that the prisoners would see Venice, you know, when they're being taken down to their cells, and they one last sigh at something so beautiful. So yeah, the Bridge of Sighs, recommended. And now I have some pretty cool facts about Cambridge that I just found, again, just doing some research online. I mean, this is really making me want to visit Cambridge. When will it be? God, what a bizarre time we're living in. It's hard to focus. Is anyone else finding this? I find my mind, I'm just thinking ahead, and it's hard to focus on, you know, day-to-day things, isn't it, at the moment? Cracking on, as we say. So I found some information about Cambridge University. So apparently, even though the university was formed in the year 1209, the first of its colleges didn't form until 1284, thanks to the Bishop of Ely and a charter from King Edward I. Love that. Crack on, love. Yeah. Totally with you. What can you do? You've got to just get on with it, haven't you? Yeah. Crazy times. Crazy times. Is it the end of the world? I don't even know. Probably not. I think it's okay. Right, anyway. The city of Cambridge itself dates back as early as the Bronze Age. Archaeological evidence suggests the settlement has been here since prehistoric times, although the name Cambridge doesn't really come into play until the Middle Ages. I mean, that is amazing. The Bronze Age. That's how old Cambridge is. Oh look, I've got 2 cats coming in. I better spin the camera around so you can see. You can see them. Oh, Giles, come say hello. This is Giles. He's very handsome. Hello. And that's his brother, Wesley, who's just running outside. Off they go. Loving life. My brother, actually, let me show you this, this is hilarious, sent me a little gift in the post. These little fish, and they've got catnip in, and the cats just go ballistic. They absolutely love these things, so hilarious. Maybe I should do a 1 hour Instagram, just play with my cats sometime, because they are very entertaining and keep the spirits up. So here's some more facts about Cambridge. Oh, he's back again. So Cambridge University has more Nobel Prizes than any other institution. And it says here, the university itself can't claim these prizes, of course. We're referring to affiliates and alumni. Individuals associated with Cambridge University have won 32 Nobel Prizes in physics alone. So 32 Nobel Prizes just for physics, just at Cambridge, which is unbelievable. That is amazing. Apparently, the first game of football was played in Cambridge, but apparently that means the first game of football with association rules. These rules are based on the so-called Cambridge rules, which were first used in 1848. So, football, Cambridge, that's where it began. Obviously, if you're English, well, who doesn't love a bit of football? Everything I'm saying just reminds me of the virus, because I can't believe they've cancelled the Euros. Devastated. Oh my goodness. Just remembered that. Oh, honestly. Oh, now, if you like books as much as I do, Cambridge University, oh God, this almost made me want to cry, has over 100 libraries. How amazing is that? 100 libraries in one city. This includes the University Library, which, as a legal deposit library, is entitled to claim a copy of every book published in the UK. Perhaps it's not surprising then that the library holds over 7 million books. How long do you think it would take to read 7 million books? If we're in isolation for a month, how many books do you think you could read? Anyone who's listening live? I reckon I could do maybe a book every 2 days. So maybe 3 books a week over a month. But 7 million books, heaven, absolute heaven. And apparently it has the archive of Charles Darwin's personal correspondence and books from his own working library, which, wow, I don't know why that's making me so emotional. I just love reading. I just want to be Belle, here, right here. This is my dream. And this is the website, by the way, I got these facts, reachcambridge.com, if you're interested in finding out some more. Cambridge is one of the high-tech hubs of the country. I mean, makes sense. Cambridge, Oxford, probably really ahead of the game when it comes to technology and innovation. I mean, Oxford has the JR Hospital, the John Radcliffe Hospital, which is a university hospital, but a real pioneering place, you know, really ahead of its game in terms of research and things. So that makes sense. Okay. Cambridge Bakery, which is called Fitzbilly's, boasts world famous Chelsea buns. So a Chelsea bun is a type of currant bun first created in Chelsea in the 18th century. These delicious pastries are flavoured with spices and presented in an iconic spiral shape. Apparently the one at Fitzbilly's are incredibly sticky and sweet. A must visit for taste, apparently, in Cambridge. So if you're ever in Cambridge, go to Fitzbilly's and have one of their Chelsea buns. Some other cool facts here. Oh, this is cool. The Eagle pub in Cambridge, Not to be confused, we have a pub in Oxford called the Eagle and Child, which is where J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis used to write, go in and write together. Well, not together, you know what I mean. But apparently the Eagle pub in Cambridge is where the discovery of DNA was announced. Cambridge scientists Francis Crick and James Watson came into the pub to announce that DNA contains genetic information at the Eagle pub on February 28th, 1953. There was a woman, I forget her name, a female scientist who discovered DNA before these guys. There's a really interesting story. If you're interested in physics or biology or science, look into the discovery of DNA. It's really, really interesting. There's a statue of Henry VIII apparently holding a chair leg, but actually it's not a chair leg, it's a sword. So, oh, this is actually quite funny. I'm going to read this to you. Okay, so the statue dates back to early 1600 and should depict King Henry VIII holding a spectre and orb. At first glance, this is indeed what the statue shows, but look closely and you'll notice that he is instead holding an orb and a chair leg. It is thought that the infamous Cambridge night climbers, a student group who enjoyed scaling buildings and making mischief under the cover of darkness, stole the sword. A thoughtful window cleaner decided to replace the missing sword with a leg chair. So if you go to Cambridge and see that statue, they're holding on to a leg chair apparently. So yeah, there's some cool facts about Cambridge. I would recommend everyone visits. Like I say, haven't visited, but it's up there on my list of places to visit in England. You know, I'd only ever been to Oxford the first time like 2 years ago. Never been to Oxford in my life, and now I live right next to it, so that's quite nice. You never know, do you, where life's going to take you. So I believe Alexandra asked 6 questions about me, which nobody has guessed which is true and which is not. So it's a bit like doing 2 truths, 1 lie, but with more facts. So here are the answers to them, basically. So the 6 questions were: I was born in Crawley, I've lived in Canada, I founded a science club for kids, I like riding horses, I like climbing and I'm a rock climbing instructor, and I participated into swimming a marathon to swim across the English Channel. Now, before I reveal the answers, anyone watching live, anyone want to guess which one of those is a lie? 2 of them are lies, in fact. So I'll just go through it again. I was born in Crawley, I lived in Canada, I founded a science club for kids, I like riding horses, I like climbing and I'm a rock climbing instructor, and I participated into a swimming marathon to swim across the English Channel. I'm just going to give you like 30 seconds. Anyone want to make a guess which one is a lie? Well, which 2 are the lies? I'll give you a minute. And I will reveal the answers. Anyone taking a guess? Thank you everyone, by the way, for joining. Hello. Just been talking about Cambridge, which has been interesting. Right, I'm going to tell you the things that are true and things that aren't true. So it is true, I was born in a place called Crawley, West Sussex. So never eat shredded wheat. South of England. If you've ever flown into Gatwick Airport, that's where I'm from. It's not the best town in the world, but it's not the worst. The best people I know are from there, so it can't be that bad. But there's not a lot to do, to be honest, especially if you're a young person. But it's a great location because it's about an hour from London and about 20 minutes south to Brighton. So, and you've got Gatwick Airport. And you know, the people are great. And the second one was, I have lived in Canada. That's true. I lived in Canada for about 3.5 years. I also lived in New Zealand for about a year and Australia for nearly a year as well. I was very lucky growing up that my auntie and uncle both worked for British Airways. So I got very cheap flights, so that was great. And Canada, I lived in Vancouver. If anyone was listening earlier, you would have seen my pictures of Vancouver Island. So yeah, Canada, great place, beautiful. I miss the mountains. I do miss the mountains. And Vancouver is an amazing place. Yeah, so that was it. Number 3, I founded a science club for kids. That is true. In fact, I can show you. When I was in Crawley, unfortunately I'm not doing it here in Abingdon, I founded a club called Fizzy Fun Science Club, and I can show you. I made, well, with the help of my dad and my sister, the amazing designer, that is the logo, Fizzy Fun Science Club. And it was something that I did for free for children who are homeschooled, but anyone could come. I used to run it in the holidays, and the idea is that people would pay by donation if they had any money, but you know, it wasn't expected, and I would use recycled material or repurpose things and run a club. And it was really good fun. I had to stop because I moved, but it was so wonderful. The idea was that you just make science really fun, because when I was little, I hated science. I hated it. I thought it was so boring. And as an adult, I'm like, science is literally the coolest thing. And so the club was to sort of engage young people with science, and it was a really good success. I'd do a demonstration, we'd do games, and then all the students would make something and take it home. We used to call it a make and take. So for example, they made, I collected water bottles that people were throwing away, and they made lava lamps, things like that. Good fun. Number 4 was, I like riding horses. No, I'm not that's one of the lies. I'm not a horse rider. I have a memory when I was really young, probably about 7 or 8. I was with my family and we were in France, and we were going to go ride these ponies, and I was so excited. And my mum got on this horse that was like so tall, it was ridiculous. And then my sister got this lovely pony, and I got one of those Shetland ponies, like the little ponies. And I'll never forget my feet dragging along the ground whilst I was riding this Shetland pony, because I was a bit too big for it, and it was very depressing. I did not have a good horse ride. So no, never been a horse rider. Number 5 was like climbing, and I'm a rock climbing instructor. That is mostly true. I did a rock climbing course so that I could belay, we call it, you know, when you are at the bottom holding the rope and someone's climbing. I learnt how to be a belayer, so that I could take the kid I looked after in Canada rock climbing, and it's such good fun. It can be quite scary. I've only ever climbed indoors. I can't imagine rock climbing outside. It's quite terrifying to think about. But yeah, so that's true. And the final one was, I've participated into a swimming marathon to swim across the English Channel. I wish that were true. I wish I'd done something amazing like that, but no, that's not true. I have never swam across the ocean. I hardly do 5 lengths in a swimming pool, so that is not true. And those were the facts about me. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Could be English related. Any questions about the English language, or any questions about me, or any questions about anything at all, anything in the world, please ask away. I've really enjoyed talking about Cambridge. It's such an interesting place. I found some great pictures actually, which I'm going to show you. Go. Yeah, images. So this, I just wanted to show you because it's so similar to Oxford, how it looks. So this is the Bridge of Sighs. So let's actually have a look. So that's the Bridge of Sighs in Cambridge. I'm just going to Google Bridge of Sighs Oxford, so you can see, you can compare. So in Oxford, it's not over a river. So actually the Cambridge one, in my opinion, is probably more beautiful. But I mean, it is amazing. Connects two buildings there. There's a great little pub around the corner here as well, I'd recommend. Oh, good question. What is the right pronunciation of the capital of Scotland? That's a great question. It's Edinburgh. Edinburgh. So yeah, spelt funny, Edinburgh, but it's pronounced Edinburgh. Good question, thank you. Any other questions like that, please ask away. It is what I am here for. So let's look at the Bridge of Sighs in Venice. Just might as well compare all of them. Let's have a look here. Ooh, cool. So in Venice, I have actually been to Venice, but I can't remember if I saw this or not. So that's the Bridge of Sighs in Venice. Yeah, cool. Has anyone been to Venice? Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely love Venice. Yeah, so that is Cambridge in a nutshell. I hope that was interesting for you guys. I'm just going to go on to the BBC News, just so I can finish with an update for you for the latest information in England. And it says here, schools to close until further notice from Friday. So schools in the UK are to shut from Friday until further notice as a response to the coronavirus pandemic, the Prime Minister has said. Schools will close except for looking after the children of key workers and vulnerable children. Exams will not go ahead. Oh dear. I feel so sorry for students who have got exams coming up, because it is a stressful time enough doing exams, and now to not have them. Crazy. Oh, good question. Would you like to meet the Queen? Oh, do you know, in a year ago, I would have said, I mean, yes, but you know, not really. But I've watched the TV series The Crown. Has anyone watched that? And I absolutely loved it. And I've kind of fallen in love with the royal family, which, you know, for me, I'm not hugely, you know, patriotic and, you know, in a lot of ways, and the monarchy, I have my opinions on it, which I won't go into now. But now I've watched The Crown, I know it's obviously dramatised, but I have a lot more respect for the royal family, and I would love to meet the Queen. Yeah, it'd be amazing. What question, if anyone, can anyone tell me, what question would you have if you could meet the Queen and you had one question? What would it be? And which season of The Crown have you enjoyed the most? I loved season 1. I think that was my favourite. I enjoyed season 2, and I've got 2 episodes left of season 3, and I don't really like season 3. I find it quite boring. I don't know why, it's just not as good. And I love Olivia Colman, the woman who's now playing the Queen. I love her. I love the cast, but I'm just a bit bored. But season 1 and season 2, and I just loved all the dresses. I don't want to be such a woman, but my God, the outfits were so beautiful. Yeah, do you agree about season 3? It was just a bit meh, like not very interested. And there was a whole episode about the Queen and her horses. And I was like, all right, I get it. But the dresses, Margaret's dresses in particular, oh my goodness, can you imagine wearing anything so beautiful? And actually I was talking about this with a student the other week. You can go to the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, and quite often they have dresses and outfits from the royal family. So if you're interested in that, you can go there, the V&A. And the actor who played Philip Pullman is from The Outlander. What's The Outlander? Is that a series? Should I watch it? I haven't heard of it. Please let me know. I'm also watching, I think I mentioned in my last talk, I'm watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is really old now, but it's so funny. If you want a bit of light-hearted relief, watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. Okay, The Outlander. Okay, I'll check it out. Obviously, if I'm going to be self-isolating, I've got plenty of time for telly. Scottish TV series. Oh, okay, cool. I'll give it a go. Love the Scots. Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's like it's Larry David who wrote Seinfeld. I mean, it's very Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's called, and it's very dry humour. It's a bit cringy, you know, when something's a bit awkward to watch, but it's really, really good. Very silly and easy to watch. Right, if anyone has any more questions, please let me know. And I'm gonna go. It's Curb Your Enthusiasm, CURB, and it's it's a very weird, silly it's an American show. Someone the other week was asking me about English shows to recommend, and I completely went blank, and I was thinking about it and talking about it with my boyfriend. No problem. That's it, Curb, you're right. And I was thinking, oh God, there are so many amazing English TV series, and I could hardly think of any. And it depends what you're into. There's some great true crime dramas. There's some great TV out there, thank goodness, because that's what we're going to be doing. I can't believe the schools are shut. I've got to go into school tomorrow, and I think the students are going to be wild with excitement, because obviously if you're young, you're just seeing it as the fun side of things, I guess. Anywho, on that lovely note, thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you found the talk about Cambridge interesting. If anyone has any questions, or if there's anything that you'd like me to talk about in the future, please let me know. And I'm going to go cook some dinner, probably have some fish and chips, and that's it. Chill out. Look after yourselves during this unknown time where things are a bit crazy. Just be kind to each other. Don't take loads of food that you don't need. Check your neighbours are okay. And just love each other. Oh God. And I will do another talk soon. And thank you again, and just peace and love. Bye guys. Bye.